Hollywood is the land of shattered dreams, but few are as notorious or as horrifying as the death of Elizabeth Short. This single crime defined the dark underbelly of post-war Los Angeles. Today, we're plunging into the investigation of the Black Dahlia murder for the next horror in history. A case of grotesque mutilation, an explosive media frenzy, and a killer who left behind one of the most chilling crime scenes in history. Stick around, because we'll uncover the evidence that led a police detective to accuse his own father of the surgical murder. Elizabeth Short was a striking but unsettled young woman who came to Hollywood with dreams, only to become a cautionary tale. She was a Hollywood hopeful, drifting through Los Angeles. Her background was unremarkable. FBI records show she had applied for a clerk position at a military commissary in 1943 and was arrested later that year for underage drinking in Santa Barbara. These minor incidents fatefully placed her fingerprints in the federal database. It was the press that christened her the Black Dahlia, seizing on a rumored preference for sheer black clothing and the title of the film noir, The Blue Dahlia. This moniker cemented her image as a mysterious and tragic figure. Her final confirmed movements trace back to the opulent Millennium Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. On the evening of January 9, 1947, she was reportedly seen in the hotel's grand lobby before vanishing into the night, unseen for nearly a week. On the morning of January 15, 1947, a local mother taking her child for a walk in the undeveloped Leimert Park neighborhood of Los Angeles stumbled upon a grotesque sight. It was the naked body of Elizabeth Short, lying in a vacant lot just feet from the sidewalk, posed and subjected to a level of methodical sadism that shocked investigators. A forensic analysis revealed the killer had severed Short's body with surgical precision at the waist, a procedure known as a hemicorporectomy. Her body was completely drained of blood, indicating she had been killed elsewhere and transported to the lot. Her face was carved with a horrifying Glasgow smile, with deep gashes extending from the corners of her mouth to her ears. The mutilation was extensive and brutal, with reports indicating she was forced to ingest feces before her death, and that her uterus had been removed. The clean bisection of her body immediately led police to suspect the killer possessed significant medical or anatomical knowledge, prompting them to investigate students at the University of Southern California Medical School. The discovery of the body launched one of the largest and most sensationalized investigations in Los Angeles history. The FBI's assistance proved crucial. Using a primitive fax machine to transmit the victim's blurred fingerprints, the FBI identified the body as Elizabeth Short in just 56 minutes, cross-referencing the prints from her prior arrest. However, the investigation was almost immediately compromised by intense media pressure and public interference. The gruesome nature of the crime created a media frenzy that severely hindered police efforts. The case was further complicated by a flood of more than 60 false confessions from individuals seeking notoriety, which wasted valuable time and resources. At one point, the killer, or a well-informed hoaxer, sent a package to the press containing some of Short's belongings, including her birth certificate and an address book. The items had been wiped clean with gasoline, destroying any potential fingerprints. For decades, the case file grew cold, filled with over 150 potential suspects, but no definitive proof. Then, in the early 2000s, a retired LAPD homicide detective, Steve Hodel, came forward with a shocking and comprehensive theory. The Black Dahlia killer was his own father, Dr. George Hill Hodel. Steve Hodel's investigation provided a powerful, if circumstantial, case. As a physician, George Hodel possessed the surgical knowledge necessary to perform the clean hemicorporectomy. Steve Hodel later unearthed district attorney's office files, revealing that his father had been a prime suspect in 1950. Investigators had secretly bugged the Hodel home, and the resulting transcripts were damning. In a recorded conversation, George Hodel was heard saying, "Supposin' I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary because she's dead." Furthermore, Steve found a photo album containing pictures of a dark-haired woman he believed was Elizabeth Short. He also noted his father's close friendship with the surrealist artist Murd3r, arguing that the grotesque posing of Short's body was an act of macabre art, emulating the surrealist aesthetic. Steve Hodel's theory, conducted by a credible former detective, has become so influential that it has effectively solved the case in the court of public opinion. This demonstrates how a compelling story can retroactively define a historical mystery, even in the absence of a legal conviction. The Biltmore Hotel, where Elizabeth Short was last seen, remains inextricably linked to her final hours. The hotel has embraced the history, famously serving a Black Dahlia cocktail in her memory. But the hotel's ties extend into the realm of the paranormal. Numerous guests and staff members have reported encounters with a spectral presence believed to be the ghost of Elizabeth Short. The apparition is consistently described as a beautiful, sad figure of a woman dressed in black, often glimpsed fleetingly in the hotel's opulent hallways or reflected in its mirrors before vanishing. These ghostly encounters are widely interpreted as the manifestations of a restless spirit, unable to find peace until the brutal crime that cut her life short is officially solved. The Black Dahlia case demonstrates how a catastrophic failure of early forensic investigation can create an evidentiary vacuum that endures for over a century. It remains an enduring symbol of Hollywood's dark heart, where the pursuit of a dream can lead to the ultimate nightmare. We want to hear your thoughts. Do you find the circumstantial evidence against Dr. George Hodel compelling enough to consider the Black Dahlia case solved? Tell us in the comments below. From the surgical sadism of a lone killer, we pivot to a campaign of terror waged by a different kind of monster, a media-savvy genius who used ciphers and taunts to terrify an entire region. Next, we examine the unsolved case of the Zodiac Killer. Until next time, stay curious.